Hi, my first video is going to be answering 5 questions that a lot of parents would have in the first couple of weeks of parenthood. Number 1, how do I know how much my baby is drinking? A lot of people have the misconception that they need to pump so that they know how much that the baby is drinking. Now I tell all my clients that if you can't see the input, you check the output. So you check it by number of wet diapers, number of poop diapers, and weight gained. Let's move on to the next question. Why is my baby crying? Now I want to tell you, crying for a baby is normal. Normal, right? Babies cry. It's their way of communication. They can't talk, they can't tell you what's making them uncomfortable, so they will cry. So sometimes I tell parents that when they cry, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're hungry. They might be hungry, it might be too cold, it might be too hot, it might be that they're not very comfortable with pee or poop in their diapers, or sometimes their shirts, the new onesies or whatever, have little tags that are tickling them and they might not like it. So don't worry if your baby is crying. You gotta know that babies do not cry as much in the beginning, and actually there is a peak and they peak at the most crying at 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. So don't worry, they cry and it is normal. Just try your best to soothe them. I will be doing a video next week to show you what the best ways to soothe the baby. Stay tuned. Let's move to the third question. Now you get all kinds of advice from friends, your mother, your mother-in-law, your aunt, your uncles, the nurse on the street, the auntie on the street. Everybody has advice for you from the moment you got pregnant all the way till your kid goes to university. And even when your kid's an adult and they're getting married, you get advice all the time. Now, what do you do as a mom when you get all this advice? Because everybody tells you different things. Like, for example, your confinement nanny would say like, you have to pump so that you know the milk. At night, they would suggest giving formula so you can sleep more. But I would suggest that you get all the right information, especially when you're pregnant, or ask somebody that is pro breastfeeding or pro whatever you want, and get all the information, listen to all the advice, and use whatever that's useful to you. Always trust your maternal instincts. That's my biggest tip. We are all made to have maternal instincts, so trust that, okay? Number 4, the biggest one. This, if you're watching this when you're pregnant, you should always have no expectations, all right? Because I always say, if you have expectations, you're going to have disappointments. If you have no expectations, you're not going to have disappointments. The same thing goes for pregnancy, same thing goes for labor, same thing goes for birth, and the most important part, the same thing applies for parenthood, especially with the brand new baby that can't communicate with you and you are trying to learn their cues and you're trying to manage parenthood. It's really tough, right? So having no expectations, for example, like your baby slept through for 4 hours yesterday, and don't expect that today the baby is going to sleep for 4 hours. Every day the baby is growing in leaps and bounds, and and they're using the digestive system for the first time. They're using all their 5 senses for the first time. Everything is overwhelming, everything is overstimulating. So my biggest tip is accept that all babies are cranky. They're little shits. And anything else you get is a good bonus. Last question. Will I ever sleep again? This is a funny one. Now, a lot of parents tell me that, Layla, why is my baby up and cranky at night, between the hours of 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. and they sleep during the daytime? Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, no, I think it's more unfortunately, baby circadian rhythm, the newborns especially, are the opposite of yours. Because when they're pregnant, 9 months of pregnancy, in the daytime, you are walking around, you're climbing stairs, you're talking, you're dancing, you're doing things, right? And you're rocking them to sleep in tummy. Now at night, I don't know if you remember when you were pregnant. If you're pregnant now, you would know, but those who have given birth, I don't know if you remember that during your pregnancy, when you're sleeping at night, the moment you lie down in bed, your baby starts kicking and moving and doing all kinds of somersaults in the body. It's the same thing. So now when they're outside, it's the same thing. They think that the daytime is the sleeping time because they're being rocked to sleep. And the nighttime is they're playing and they're moving around, kicking time. It takes a little bit of tweaking their circadian rhythm. It's kind of like they're jet lagged, right? Tweaking their rhythm, showing them the sunlight in the morning, exposing them to noise in the daytime, and keeping it hushed and dark and quiet at night. And slowly over time, they will learn that morning is for playing and for naps, and nighttime is for sleeping longer hours. My biggest tip for all the parents would be, number one, sleep when your baby is sleeping. So a lot of mommies, you don't really have to do anything during the first month, especially after you've given birth, right? Or at least give yourself 2 weeks to recover. Now, in the first 2 weeks, whenever your baby's sleeping, sleep, take a nap, close your eyes, take a bath, take a shower, right? Just don't feel like you have to clean the house, do laundry, cook, or text the world, or whatever. All these things can be done when your baby is awake. Number two, don't have two of you, mommy and daddy, up at the same time. For example, it's 2 a.m. at night and the baby is crying. So the daddy, you might want to wake up, check the baby's diaper. If there's a poopy inside or if it's very full, you can change the diaper and then pass the baby to mommy, then go back to sleep. And mommy, once you're breastfeeding, okay, after you've breastfed, sometimes it takes half an hour, sometimes it's 45 minutes, sometimes it takes longer. After you're done and you're exhausted, pass the baby back to the husband, then you sleep. So take turns. Don't have two people up at the same time fussing over the little human, because in the end, you are going to suffer and you are going to be the one that is suffering from sleep deprivation. Hope you liked today's video, and I hope it helps you. If it had helped you, and if you know anyone who's pregnant, please invite them to join us at leilaandco.com or join our Facebook group. Thank you.